Alright, what's good YouTube, it's Jay here. Weekend 1 of the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer beta has come to an end. We'll be back on Thursday with the highly anticipated return of High Rise, debut of Cutthroat, and more expected throughout the weekend ahead. Until then, we'd like to take a moment to thank you all for your feedback. Our team is hard at work on further improvements for weekend 2 and beyond. Later this week, you can expect an update on some of the top concerns we've observed, including but not limited to operator visibility, slide timing, and spawn selection. These are arguably the 3 largest complaints I've seen about MW3. There's a weird delay with slide canceling apparently, where you can't sprint or really do anything for a couple seconds after you get through slide canceling. I understand why some people probably think a change to that is not necessary, but it just kind of messes with the flow of things, at least from what I understand anyway. I didn't get a chance to play it, so I don't really know what that probably felt like to a lot of people, but when you've got a movement system in play, having a fast-paced movement then having it come to basically a dead stop is not a great combination. At least that's how it sounds anyway. Again, I didn't get a chance to mess with it, so I really can't give too much of an opinion on it. Operator visibility is another issue that Modern Warfare 2 had, which is funny. I'm gonna bring up another tweet that I saw earlier, but it was basically along the lines of, you can't see people good in this game sometimes. It's so easy to accidentally shoot your teammates. I remember when this was addressed by IW, they really didn't actually want to make changes to make operators more visible. They were perfectly fine with leaving it how it was originally. And then spawn selection, spawn selection is definitely a big concern. Good spawns make a good Call of Duty just as much as good maps make a good Call of Duty. If the spawns are randomized and just kind of all over the place and weird, or they're squad spawns, it just makes the feel and flow of the games off. It just makes it feel weird. Yeah, a lot of people seem to be happy about the fact that these guys are actually communicating. People are excited for these guys to actually keep making this game. Sledgehammer Games has always been open about making changes to their Call of Duty. It's mostly IW that doesn't like doing that. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, well, Sledgehammer made Vanguard. Look, Vanguard's biggest issue was the fact it was a World War II game. But for the most part, to say, aside from the trophy system controversy, they've always been very, very communicative on what changes they're gonna make to the game. And it's been like that since World War II. We got that huge overhaul to it. But it's funny just seeing all these professional accounts like Scuff Gaming, Charlie Intel, Atlanta FaZe, Los Angeles Thieves, people are just the professional accounts have been roasting IW. It's just kind of funny seeing how many big names of the community, from creators, pro players, and official esports accounts, have just been all outright roasting Infinity Ward from Modern Warfare 2. It's honestly hilarious. Yeah, but this is still kind of funny. This is the most bare bones form of communication, but it's still not IW or Sledgehammer's fault that it's like this. We just dealt with basically a full year of IW saying, well, we want this design decision. We don't really care what you guys want. Now, the whole concept of design decisions really varies from person to person. Some people like the way MW2 played, and that's fine. I'm not gonna hate on them. Some people didn't like it, and that's also fine, and I'm not gonna hate on them. I'm a very neutral guy on a lot of things, man, for the most part. Was MW2 my favorite? Hell no. Was it up there with my top 5 CODs? Hell no. I kind of just made the most of it and, made videos here and there and did what I could, but I think I also come from 2 different perspectives. I come from, well, maybe 3. I come from originally being more of a casual guy to now making videos and stuff on it, to also being involved with the competitive scene, so I kind of have a better understanding of why certain things make a Call of Duty better and why some things make it worse. It also just doesn't take too much brain power to think about the fact that we have red dots, dead silence, reload canceling, all of that removed. It doesn't take too much brain power to understand that those were just not really good decisions. MW2 originally tried to say they were gonna go for that classic COD feel, and I just still don't really think that's even remotely what they were doing. Classic COD still was faster than Modern Warfare 2 from a gunplay perspective, to a movement perspective, to a jumping even perspective. There were literally almost no jump penalties in the old Call of Duties. To visibility, to things like dead silence and red dots on the minimap. Classic Call of Duty had all of those things, and they took it away and then said, we're trying to do the classic COD feel. And I don't even remotely agree with that. That being said, MW2 is dead after this month, so whatever. It is what it is at this point. I've actually had a lot of fun with Season 6. The maps in Season 6 are actually pretty good. The guns are fun and broken, but they're fun. You get a bunch of free crap in the Battle Pass now, and I've only been paying the Battle Passes with COD points from previous Battle Passes, so since this year started, I spent $10 on the Battle Pass. Alright, so what's funny is Hope actually did bring up the old IW tweets for when they said they were gonna make changes or whatever based on feedback from the community on MW2, which they didn't. Currently in the MW2 beta, we only show enemy player dots when a UAV is active. The design reason for this is that we do not want to punish players for firing their weapons. That is still to this day the most absurd fucking thing that I've ever read from a developer studio. Like, this is the dumbest shit I have ever read in my life. In the old Call of Duty days, if you didn't want to get punished for firing your weapon and showing up on the minimap, you rocked a suppressor. That was the trade-off. You want to keep firing your weapon, go for it, but you're gonna be seen. We also want players to actively search out the origin of a gunshot versus traveling directly to where the dot is on the minimap. See, but the problem with that was there's so much shit happening in a game. Sound effects. Literally the entire US military is flying over, dropping bombs and shit on the map. Like, to say that you want people to use sound in a game where everything is loud is just insane to me. I get the concept. You want people to have to, I guess, use a little bit more brain power. In my personal unbiased opinion, maybe because I've played previous Call of Duties, it generally doesn't feel any more special to have to quote unquote search out the sound of a shot versus seeing it on the minimap. In almost 99% of the lobbies I'm in, everybody is rocking a UAV. Like, I've never seen this many UAVs in a single Call of Duty like with this one. I remember how they didn't want to make adjustments to the perk system. They literally said, well, we feel it's nice. Like, a lot of people don't like it. 90% of the community hates it. We like it. Dead Silence is another hot topic, as many players have expressed that they would like to see it as a perk instead of a field upgrade. We believe it is important to game health that rushers are not able to move at high speeds without consequences. Dead Silence is a field upgrade, creates a balance between freedom of movement and predictability of combat. Like, it's just such a weird system to me, because they're trying to create this balance of gameplay, but they're giving the other half of the players the power. Okay, we don't want rushers to have all this advantage. What about campers? Well, they don't show up on the minimap. They get trip mines, claymores, cluster mines, thermite. Like, they get so many like camp options. On top of the fact they can still rock a trophy system and have at least 2 of those other pieces of equipment on standby, one as a kill streak being cluster mines and one as a regular piece of utility. It's like, I don't understand this mindset. Whatever happened to being aware of your surroundings, you know? And I always hated the argument about the red dot chasing shit. It just never made any sense in my head. I didn't even red dot chase back in the day, but I did look at my minimap constantly to see where the action is. That's just normal, you know? I would get all of this for like a shooter like Arma or something tactical, but it's just so weird that they went in this direction with Call of Duty of all things, when Call of Duty has always been an arcade shooter. It's never been realistic. Sure, you die quick in the old CODs. I guess that's realistic, but outside of that, there was a lot of goofy shit back in the old Call of Duty days. I don't even want to talk about their slide canceling decisions on MW2. It was insane how we had really fun gameplay in the beta for MW2, and then they just took it away. I honestly don't feel like I'm personally wasting my money this year. Like, I still don't take things that deep. I'm only talking about it because making these comparisons and talking about the differences between studios is genuinely something I find kind of interesting, just to see how they do things. It could be intentional. Maybe that's just how they do things in order to market the next game. Honestly, that theory could be real. I honestly have no idea. But regardless, like, it's just, I don't really like agree with the whole mindset that this is just another $70 DLC. Like, I see what the perspective is, and a lot of people are saying, well, they could have just added this to the game. They weren't going to do this at all, okay? Let's just make that very clear. They were never going to add this stuff because Infinity Ward is always at the head. A lot of people think about Call of Duty as one unified studio is what I'm starting to realize. Oh, well, it's a $70 DLC. Oh, why didn't they just add this in for free instead? This studio didn't want to do any of this shit at all. Does it mean we should start to pay money for it? Probably not. But Infinity Ward is literally the only studio with the most absurd and bizarre changes to the formula of COD. Sure, the invention of slide canceling in MW19 was actually really cool and it had a lot of fun to it, but the spawns were terrible in that game. The maps were not good unless you were playing search and destroy, save for maybe like a couple here and there. And then they had this whole just obsession with changing things like the minimap and perks and Dead Silence. Like, I don't know, man. It just seems super absurd. Like, I will wait till the next game comes out and play it with the beta to really get my full opinions on everything before I just hop on the meat ride train of saying that Sledgehammer is our savior. But I really can't blame people for being excited considering the year of COD we just had. Like, brother, I genuinely cannot blame people. I have the personal bias also because I literally didn't even buy this game. One of my homies bought it for me, so I'm a little bit more biased on this, and frankly, if you don't like my opinion on it, I really couldn't blame you. I'm not going to be mad at you for disagreeing with anything because there's a lot of opinions about this stuff, and I'm personally just stating mine. I think it's fair to have opinions on everything. Like, if you think it's not worth the price, I won't like say, hey man, it's either here's X reason why you should get it. Like, I'm not gonna be like that, you know? Every single thing I say is literally just coming from my own personal perspective. It's actually kind of wild to me how many people really don't know much about like the OG Doom. I posted a few clips of this gun on like TikTok and YouTube, and some people are like, what's wrong with the gun? Why is it making like this weird animation? What's wrong with the frame rate? Like, I didn't even get a chance to play the proper Doom like when I was a kid because I didn't have a PC for the kind of stuff, and it was a game with killing. My mom was not a fan of that kind of stuff at the time, but it is still kind of funny to me how people don't know like this is what the Doom like used to look like. The Doom, I don't know why I said it like this. This is what Doom literally used to look like back in the day. I've seen gameplay on it, obviously. I've seen gameplay of the original Doom, so it's just like this is a no-brainer. And I used to actually play like, did I actually play it? I think I might have played it once, but I might have played Star Wars Jedi Dark Forces or whatever it was called back in the day. And that game basically was the same thing. It was like low FPS first-person shooter where you walked around like this the whole time. I definitely think that $70 is kind of insane now for a like basically just an upgrade to MW2, but it's like they were gonna charge $70 for the DLC anyway. Like, does that justify it? Not necessarily. I'm just saying though, like either way, like when people say hey, this could have just been a free deal or a DLC or whatever, I'm like, brother, they were gonna charge you $70 anyway. Like they already made that very clear. All of the leaks and stuff were basically confirming that its premium DLC or whatever was gonna be $70. So we basically got that. They're not. I can't believe I hit that. They're not entirely wrong. For the record, I'm not gonna justify Call of Duty and all their shenanigans. I'm just saying like that's just a reality of it, really. It's stupid and annoying, sure, but I'm also just not that attached to game studios like that in games in general. Like, if I truly like something, I'm gonna buy it. That's just the way I look at it, you know? I couldn't shoot. And so far, I like MW3. Like, I'm not buying it just for the sake of buying it. Like, I genuinely do like the game for what I'm looking at so far. More than this game, but for sure. I'll let you get away, buddy. Before anybody asks, why does my gun sound like the OG MW2? I had a few spare COD points from some leftover Battle Pass stuff, and I used that to get the little sound bundle. I've always had this philosophy. If I'm gonna pick up a skin like a cosmetic in a game, I gotta be able to see it. I'm not buying character skins and all that shit. I'll buy gun skins, sure, but I'm not buying character skins. Like things that I cannot see, why would I pay for it? You know what I mean? Like that's just my philosophy on the whole like skin thing. If I literally cannot see it, I'm not gonna pay money for it. I don't see a point. Oh. We got him off just in time. Oh, can I just say also, how does a laser like make people ADS quicker? What is happening right now? All right, jumping around like this is so cool. That's just my thought on everything. Like, I generally do see people's concerns with like the whole $70 bit. Damn, you flinch so hard in this game. I get everybody's concerns with it, like truly, it's not something that I'm like just being intentionally ignorant to. I fully understand their perspectives on it. It's like when I saw a tweet that basically said create a problem to sell a solution. I don't know. All this stuff would be so less annoying if we had one centralized studio. When you got multiple studios with their like just ingrained design decisions, everything's always gonna feel weird. I've been trying to tell people for the longest, so we're never gonna get that like OG like 2009 to 2012 Call of Duty feel again. The games are gonna be just naturally faster, so a lot of people are just gonna have to adapt to the fact that the games are gonna be faster. Like it's a different age. Like that was just such a different era a long time ago. Like what do I wish we could go back to those times? Absolutely, but it just won't happen, literally. And I don't even think it really boils down to a monetary like decision making thing on Activision's part. Like it probably does. Obviously, they're gonna do what's best for them that makes them the most money, obviously. I'm just talking about like from a gameplay perspective, like the movements are always gonna be faster. We live in a different generation now of people that like super fast paced, you know, movement. Like they're like it's not gonna be catered to us old heads anymore that like the fast but sort of more slower pace feel that OG Call of Duty's had, you know? And I'm not talking about this game. Like this game was just weird. Even as an old head, I still think it had some absurd design like decisions. It didn't feel like a classic COD per se. Like they tried to market it as, you know? I didn't mean to jump up there, bro. That golden age was just something you really had to live in the moment for. And I don't really think nostalgia is just blinding per se, but it kind of is. Like when you have something you're just so attached to, everything else is always gonna pale in comparison, you know what I mean? Everything's always gonna pale in comparison, and I honestly hate to even admit that, but it's just how I feel about a lot of things, you know, like Star Wars, Call of Duty. Everything's always gonna pale in comparison to what you grew up with and what you loved the most when you were younger. And that's just the unfortunate reality of everything. It sucks, but it is what can you do, you know? Now, I do think the monetary decisions of Activision are absurd, but I'm just talking like from a pure like gameplay perspective, like we're never gonna get that OG feel from like 2009 again in 2012 for BL2. It's just not gonna happen. Like that's just gaming is such a different era now with how they do things in terms of like gameplay and movement and obviously the whole cosmetic situation too. Wow, where did I get shot from? Oh yeah, this thing is absurd. Did he hip fire me? Well, all right, I got shot from another source it looked like, but still, that's insane. Oh shit. This thing is so stupid. It's just a weird world we live in when it comes to the gaming space. That's just how it is, man. It sucks, but I do wish we could go back to the old times, like from the gameplay to the DLCs and stuff, but gameplay's never going to change again because we just live in an entirely different era. Our era is kind of over. Like, you can't really make like a Black Ops 2 in 2025. Like, people are still going to hate it. That's the thing that gets, you know, it's hard to accept that, but people are still going to hate it, like, no matter what. So, I mean, I don't know. Point being is, do what you want to do. If you like the new stuff, get it. If you don't, you know? It's a weird gray area. It's a very confusing gray area, you know? Because on one hand, I do like the more modern adjustments to Call of Duty from like the movements, everything, but I also do crave that classic feel that OG CODs kind of had. Now, when Call of Duty comes to the Battle Pass, when Call of Duty comes to the Xbox Game Pass, which is, it's confirmed to apparently be coming. Now, when COD comes to the Xbox like Game Pass, which apparently it is confirmed to be coming to the Game Pass in 2024, I probably will get a chance to actually relive like that old school Call of Duty feel. Hopefully they'll address all the hackers and all that garbage. It's just a different era. I still don't support character skins like garbage like this. I don't pay for it at all. If it's not coming in the Battle Pass, I'm not getting it. I will get a gun skin if it looks cool enough to me, sure, and that's like once in a blue moon. I've gotten like 1 or 2 gun skins from here, one for the CDL teams and that Doom gun. The last time I bought like a genuine bundle was Cold War for like the dragon skin that flew on your Krig or whatever. And I don't even think I bought a single gun skin in MW19 unless it was like a competitive skin. That's just my thought. Like, if I can't see the thing when I'm playing the game, I'm not gonna pay for it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't want to be Nicki Minaj. I don't want to be 21 Savage. I don't see a point. I don't want to hear their little corny voice lines. I don't care about that. I'm getting old.